Hi everyone, it's Kelly Donahue-Piro here again for your next installment of our training on the renewal calls. So without further ado, let's get started. So right now we've gone through the pre-call checklist, the making of the call, and we're at step 3, which is going to go in 2 parts. So we're going to talk about part 1 today, and this is really on how to make a great renewal call, a ridiculously amazing renewal call. And then in 2 weeks, we're going to go through the other section because it is a little bit lengthy. So let's talk about the perfect renewal call. First of all, you are friendly and confident on the call. You are not rushed. You're not buying into the client's rushed or wondering what's going on. You're friendly, confident, just somebody that you would genuinely want to speak with. And you have to show value in yourself and the agency and the time that the client is spending with you. So there's one thing more important to us than money today, and that is our time and the convenience factor. So in the beginning, somebody may not understand how this is convenient for them. We have to work quickly to show our value in ourselves, the agency, and the time that this client's going to invest with us. If we go through a process that is very robotic, not friendly, the person's going to get turned off and not want to donate and give us their time so that we can convert that into better protection for them. We have to really lean in on building rapport and the relationship. So at the end of the day, building rapport is so critical. And also that relationship with the client. So next year when we call, the year after, it feels warm and friendly. Things like their kids' names, pets' names, we really need to start documenting that in the management system so we can be that personal provider that genuinely cares about the client. So things that build rapport are: where do they work? What do they do on the weekends? Always the weather. And really key on those is that if you ask the questions in the right way, sometimes people give you opportunity. Like they say, oh, I'm excited to take my motorcycle out. And you're looking, we don't have a policy. Or we're going to our cabin. We don't insure that. These are things that help cough up some other opportunities. We also want to educate the client on the call us first mentality. So call us first if you're putting a youthful driver on. Call us first if you're thinking about a new car. Call us first if you have a chip in your windshield. When the client is building that relationship and knows to call you, they see value in what you bring to the table. When there's no ideas of how they should work with you, the client often either calls the carrier directly or doesn't call you at all and calls one of your competitors. We want to try to bypass that altogether. You do this by becoming a solution provider. So when they see value in your expertise, your knowledge, and how you help them, everything gets easier. So how do we shine on these calls? Well, we have to have a strong introduction. We have to build rapport quickly, make our recommendations, confirm our next steps, and show the client gratitude. And if we do these things in a call, that is the ideal, perfect renewal call. So let's talk about our intro on this call. For many people, we're going to be interrupting something that they're doing. They're at work, they're busy with the kids, they're driving. They're not expecting our phone call, right? So when somebody's not expecting our phone call, we have to do our best of showing our value quickly. So remember, if clients aren't expecting our call, they might seem rushed, busy, and that can kind of turn us off. That's when we say things like, oh, do you want to talk another time? We have to think that we want to try to keep the client on the call unless they ask to be called back later. Now, I know this may seem a little aggressive for some people, but the idea is that the more that we show our value, the more interested they become, and they want to stay on their phone call for another couple minutes versus listening to their podcast. So, if a client says, hey, can I do this another time? No problem. But if the client just seems rushed and busy, we don't know what they're doing. Let's not assume. Let's do our best part and keep that call going. We have to remember what we're doing is really important. We're calling to ensure their protection. So this just isn't a friendly, hey, how's it going? Call me anytime. This is really making sure that they have the right insurance if something bad happened. I can't think of a better use of a few minutes than that. We want to show value quickly so it will attract their attention. So if they know what's in it for them, they know that we care, they're willing to give us what they need in their time to make sure everything's done accurately. You always want to be 3 things to your clients: confident, friendly, and valuable. And I think that the word valuable is something that we often underestimate. How do we become valuable to a client? Well, we have to explain the services we have, what we're here to do, and the certain things that they should be contacting us for that maybe they're not. For many people, insurance is such a low thing on the totem pole that they want to deal with that they just don't. So by us displaying our value and reminding them of the things that we can take off their plate, we build that value, we build that good rapport, that good reputation, and that's when they become raving fans and they really want to stay with us because they clearly see the benefit. We have a saying that good service is not enough anymore. That's the minimum expectation. So instead of just saying we give good service, what we really need to drive home instead is how do we become valuable to our client? So one thing that we're going to look at when we dive into the call, our meeting together, is how we intro a call and the voicemail scripts. We talked about this a little bit in the last one, so we just want to make sure everybody's using them and talk about what's working and what's not working. So our next step is really rapport. So we get somebody on the phone, we have to build rapport quickly. This makes people feel comfortable, and then the quality of the call and that interaction improves. So when someone feels comfortable with you, they're willing to share. They're willing to laugh a little bit more. They're willing to ask you questions. When somebody's not feeling comfortable, we have to take that as our personal job to make that happen. Not that, oh, they were just short with us. Let's turn it around and think, what could we do differently to improve the comfort level on that call? Your goal is to find common ground with the client. So how do we do that? Well, we share some things about ourselves, they share, and then all of a sudden we start building a bridge of we're not just somebody sitting in an office building, we're their agent, and we're real people too. And they're real people. And then that's when that whole intersection happens, and it's really a great thing. So things like career, where they live, maybe you can find some common ground there. Kids, people love talking about their children. Of course, weather. Pets, again, big. Pets are the new children. People love their pets just as much, if not sometimes more than their kids, depending on the day. Sports. The idea is that you find something that you have in common so they understand that this is a real great situation. Once it's established, we need to document those things for future calls. So if we find out their kids' names and ages, we should put that in the management system so next time they call in, we can be that warm, friendly, inviting agency. Your goal is really to establish dialogue. So not the yep, nope. You can tell when those calls start happening. We have to try to keep the going and come up with new strategies, new techniques to keep the person engaged and build that rapport. So we've talked about this during the training, but what are the 2 to 3 questions we can ask to ensure that there's a little bit better rapport? Well, those are some of the things we're going to discuss on the meeting today. Then we go into our review, right? So now we've buttered everybody up. We're in a good place. We always start with contact information because if we have bad phone numbers, we have no shot of calling them. That breaks that whole chain of who we are and the value we add. We want to discuss the points you found in your pre-call checklist. That's really critical. Think about the recommendations, clarify anything that you weren't sure of. And then we want to use the account review questions to find the changes that a client may not remember. The great part about this is that we're going to review this today in the meeting too, find out which questions are working, what do we need to tweak a little bit. The bottom line is insureds don't know what updates to tell you about. So they just assume everything's covered. They have full coverage, right? So we have to be the detectives in the situation. And this can lead to greater discounts and also coverage opportunities. So it's well worth it. We want to make sure to educate the client through the process. What should they tell you? What should they be on the lookout for? So we now want to take a look at some of our scripts. Inside your workbook, we have scripts on contact info and account reviews. So that's something that we want to make sure that you're familiar with, you have them open, and we're going to talk a little bit about them during the meeting. So we're going to talk next time a little bit more and deeper on these calls, but let's get started on reviewing these items on call this